but
aspect.
anyway, so the common theme for me in choosing these two is picking the post-apocalyptic theme of like the ragtag group that are on a journey. That's a pretty constant recurring
Hmm.
thing in post-apocalyptic. So I picked No Blade of Grass and Damnation Alley. They're very different approaches to the same idea
Yeah.
of people on this journey to survive, which is what, like Kaylin said, that's part of the whole post-apocalyptic theme that drives the interest, right? Is that, these threads of humanity, you get to see both the worst and the best as we're trying to survive. And in these, you've got people on a quest. So you're adding the quest to it. You're not just trying to survive, but you actually have a quest, a journey that you're on at the same time. So who all has seen No Blade of Grass?
I just rewatched it the other day for you.
Okay, so we got
I have seen neither. I'm taking
okay.
this as recommendations. I don't
Okay.
mind
I
spoilers, though,
saw it
Okay.
so
like
go
5 or 6
for
years ago
Okay.
when I was still homeless.
Okay, well, I'll say No Blade of Grass is a good movie. Damnation Alley is not so much, but there's a charm to it.
Mhm.
But No Blade of Grass is pretty brutal. It's a 1970
Hmm.
movie that
The very
really
memorable Roger Whittaker theme song.
with with an oddly out of place seeming song in its theme. Yeah, that doesn't really quite capture the mood, I don't think, of the movie. And so you've got
I would
that.
agree with that.
Yeah,
He's
you've got
ironic.
yeah, yeah, sure. I'm sure Roger Whittaker is being ironic. No, he's cashing his paycheck. Um, but No Blade of Grass, the precipitating apocalyptic event is a plague that basically kills all grass, which winds up, the entire grass family, wheat, rice, all of that. It's all just gone. And so, yeah, so humanity falls into just what you would expect. I mean, we saw just the tiniest glimpse of some of that happening when we were started to get the shutdowns of COVID, right? People just, freaking out. Well, now imagine if we lost wheat, rice, grass, all of that. I mean, people would lose their mind. So yes, the world, there's global famine, there's anarchy in the streets all around the world, there's cannibalism, it's the whole thing. So
Suburban folks are upset about their
yeah.
lawns.
So
Yeah.
so you start with the precipitating event, and then you kind of like they give you a montage and all that, and then fast forward a year, and now we center around the people who the movie's going to be about on their journey. These people in London, as London is just, it's taken a year, but they're about to just fall to pieces and shut down any ability to people to come in or leave. And so they're scrambling to get out. They want to get out because this guy, John, who's played by Nigel Davenport, you should know him too. He's very, interesting actor in terms of movies he's been in. But and he's got a very distinctive voice and presence and all that. But anyway,
Definitely.
he so he's like scrambling to get out. And what do they want to do? Want to get guns. And so you need guns. And they want to get out because his brother, then here's the quest. His brother David owns a farm out in the valley up north. So they got to get out of London. He thinks if he can get to his brother's farm, there's a chance they can, hole up there. It's like a fort. It'd be like a little fortress. That's the goal. So they're going to take off and go do that. Well, let's just say things do not progress very well. There's a lot of killing. There's
the daughter gets raped.
Oh yeah, that's coming. There's a lot of this, and it's in that very bright red blood that you got at that time, right? In a lot of movies, it looks like red paint, and we got a lot of that. We got a lot of that, but it's like nowadays there'd probably be these situations in which they wouldn't actually kill people. We would find ways to work it out now, but not in this. I think
John is remorseless.
Yeah, no, he's completely, the year has broken him. He's like Rick Grimes a year into Walking Dead, you know, very
Right.
different at the beginning, but by a year into it, he's pretty ruthless, right? And yeah, this is a guy who it's like he's at that point of desperation. He's you know, you're not going to give me the guns. Well, we're just going to shoot you. Kind of a attitude,
Yep.
right? And so as they're going down the road, yes, they run into people. There's lots of boom, boom, boom. If there's even a question, boom, that kind of thing, you know. And but yes, like
it's a very violent film.
Yes, it's very
I found
violent.
it shocking. It's shocking
Yeah.
for a British film.
It is, and
Yes.
that's what I want to say. That's what's so shocking about it is that it's that uptight British attitude throughout it, but to know that this is a British production in 1970 particularly, it just seems a little shocking when you're watching it. And then yes, there's this point where his 16-year-old daughter gets hauled out of the car and is raped by 3 guys, you know, which apparently when I looked it up, it was controversial at the time and actually got cut from the VHS releases later. It's been restored since, you know, so yeah, if you watch it now, you know, DVD or digital, you'll get the rape scene. But, you know, controversial in that the actress was 15 at the time.
I didn't know that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
she did look really young.
Yeah, and you know, and the director and everybody, they claimed that it was a body double, but there are also people who say, yeah, that was an After Effect retro story. So who knows? I don't know. So yeah, it's questionable and it's very disturbing. So this whole movie has that. There's motorcycle gangs. There's you know, there's all kinds of nonsense, and then you know, just like a really good horror movie as well. When you get to the very end and there's this conflict with his brother David that happens, that I almost don't want to spoil it because Kaylin hasn't seen it, but let's just say
I actually can't hear if I do this.
It's straight. Well, no. Go ahead and pull it out. I'm not going to spoil it. Let's just say it takes it to the logical conclusion of what is happening there with the conflict about that valley and the fortress of the farm and John and David. So you get it's almost like brother against brother kind of a conflict. So you got symbolism there. You're right. And
Cain and Abel.
Yeah, exactly. Cain and Abel. I mean, this is pretty common theme going on here about man versus man to survive. And you know, so like I said, it's just going to be kind of a logical conclusion. You'll probably predict where it's going to go when you're watching it, so it's not really a spoiler, but I'm not going to get into the specific details and just say it becomes not just post-apocalyptic, I think, but I think at that point it becomes almost like a horror movie in that sense that there's an inevitability to the end that it's going to have. And you know, so it's a really good movie to watch. It's an unsettling movie. It's disturbing in so many ways as you're watching it, and I think it's a really good and I say this a lot, it's a really good snapshot of the time in which it was made, and in a way that I think was pretty bold for considering that it was, you know, a UK production like that, and not say some Italian film or something.
Right.
You know, it's pretty bold. Now all that being said, I want to also just real quickly kind of cover Damnation Alley. Has everybody seen Damnation Alley?
I have not seen it.
I saw it once a long time ago. I sort of remember,
but nobody else seen it. Okay, you kind of got to see this at some point but I almost would recommend being drunk or high when you watch it to fully enjoy it. I mean, it's almost a genre necessary to see this thing. I mean, it's got Paul Winfield, George Papard, Jan Michael Vincent. I mean,
the 70s live.
You even get a young Jackie Earl Haley in it. You know, he's probably a teenager at this point, and you know, it's kind of necessary, I think, in considering how things have evolved in the geek culture. You kind of need to see this kind of garbagey movie from 1977 that was being filmed concurrently with Star Wars. Okay, they were both being filmed at the same time by the same studio, and this is and at the time, and I was mentioning this to some of the guys before we started filming. At the time, from what I've been able to glean, is that 20th Century Fox wasn't so keen on Star Wars. They thought, that wasn't going to be the thing. And so they thought Damnation Alley, that's going to be their tentpole movie for the summer. Yeah. Initially, when production was going on, but apparently as production was happening, things started to shift at 20th Century Fox. And
I mean, everybody thought Star Wars was going to be a flop back then. Everybody.
Right. But apparently there was a point where the studio started to realize something different was happening with Star Wars than was happening with Damnation Alley. And so, because they were both budgeted about the same. And Damnation Alley, which was also based on a popular novel, Roger Zelazny novel, which I had read, because at that age I was like 10, and I would always read the novel before the movie came out. I always loved that, get the novelization. So when I went to start Star Wars, I'd already read the novel, and so I was there ready to watch everything on the screen that I already knew about. Right, same thing with Damnation Alley, which in Star Wars did not disappoint me, but Damnation Alley very much disappointed me, having read the novel.
Probably disappointed Zelazny.
So but anyway, the thing is while they were filming that there was apparently a corporate shift. They realized, Star Wars is got something happening. So without telling the director Jack Smite of Damnation Alley, the studio took a quarter of his budget that he was earmarking for post-production effects work and reshoots. They took it away from him without telling him, and they gave it to Lucas and the Star Wars guys. They could do some extra effects work, which you see it paid off, right, to do that. But not for Damnation Alley, it did not. I wish we could have had little lizards with the fins glued on them and all that. I don't know why they didn't go and get some of that from Roger Corman. No,
leave the lizards alone.
Instead we have these horrible cheap matte effects with scorpions that are supposed to have been mutated up to giant size. I can't even describe how poorly put together the sequence is, with this motorcycle on a sand dune and these matted, poorly matted. You know how my hands are just kind of disappearing here on the it's like that, it's just like what I'm doing right now is kind of like the scorpion.
That's a great effect, Keith.
Yeah. that's what's kind of happening, they're in and they're out,
All right.
And Jan Michael Vincent on his motorcycle and trying to avoid being killed by these scorpions on the sand. I mean, just terrible. And then they spent almost like $500,000 creating this giant tank looking things that they're all gonna pile into and go on this journey and through Damnation Alley on their journey to get to Albany, New York. That's the thing. I think they're going from, I think it's Detroit. I think they're going from around Detroit, that area, and they're trying to drive.
Well, it makes sense wanting to leave Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it just looks like, the deserts of outside of LA, because it's just cheap stuff. They're working with what they got. And, and their big effect beyond that practical thing was the taking the blue skies and adding in treating the blue sky like a blue screen, and then adding adding background electrical storm stuff that's always going, so the sky looks like what you see behind me all the time, but the painting behind me is much better than what you get on screen.
It's like a wasteland.
Imagine.
Yeah. So anyway,
did you paint the background?
No, not me. But anyway, the movie just goes through sequence after sequence of them running into bad people or bad monsters. It's either scorpions or man-eating Madagascar hissing cockroaches in a sequence you have to see to believe, because it's supposed to be in the book. Man, it makes you want to jump out of your skin, the idea of the way these giant cockroaches are. In the movie, Not so much.
Mm.
They're supposed to
They
be
dropped the
so
ball on that.
they're supposed to be so horrific, but the effect is literally like carpets with to get across the idea that there's thousands of them coming at you. They have like a carpet that's covered with rubber cockroaches. It's got a string on it that they're pulling, and they get this sense that they're going
Oh my god!
multiple times, multiple
Pulled by a
times.
string. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actual
Yeah.
cockroaches. No matter how
No.
many there are, no matter
Well,
how little
they
they
were-
are, I'm still gonna not like it. But
Yeah, they do get some footage of real cockroaches. Yeah, they
Oh my
have
God.
Yeah, and they have a few around, but the masses of them are just little rubber cockroaches on cockroaches.
God,
But,
I cannot do cockroaches
No,
though.
no,
I had a
it's-
very bad experience in the last apartment that I lived in, where the people below me were very, very messy and their apartment had to get fumigated. So guess where the roaches fled to?
Yeah. Well,
Oh, wow.
these are Madagascar hissing cockroaches, so they're very big. And but when they're on people and they're biting into their skin, they're obviously not real.
Yeah.
As Paul Winfield is like, "Oh," you're wondering, it's like it's one of those things where you're yelling at the screen almost to stop doing that. Why would you climb in the car? Why would you do all of this stuff? And eventually, they eat all of the skin off, and then you've got these perfectly white bones that have been just picked clean. It's that level of bad thinking. But George Papard is chewing the scenery. He's there. He's in full proto Hannibal Smith mode with cigar and sunglasses and a hat. It's post-apocalypse, and he's got a perfectly starched white shirt tucked into his jeans and all that kind of stuff. And Michael Vincent, he's there zipping around on his little motorcycle, so yeah, it's a fun garbage movie. That's one of those things that, again, it is also a snapshot of the world of special effects movies before Star Wars. It's like the last of those that probably could have been made like this and put out. And it's mostly embarrassing, but it's also funny, unintentionally so. And worth
unintentionally funny movies.
Yeah, it is worth watching at least once if you're a genre fan, especially if you like post-apocalyptic stuff. You kind of gotta at least have one sit through of Damnation Alley.
Sounds fair.
And
I'll just get a nice bottle of whiskey ready and
absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, both of those good.
Excellent.
No Blade of Grass is a good movie with a lot to say, and but it's also a harsh movie about the human condition and the fact that we're just kind of gonna we'll just kill each other, kind of a thing. And
that's what we are really good at. Yes.
Damnation Alley is a little more of like, we do have a sequence where, again, also attempted rape at one point, with some hillbillies who, of course, when they walk in, they find a diner. And then these three hillbillies with their beards and all that kind of stuff, they want to kill them all, but they also want to rape the girl. But they also walk in, and my first reaction is like, "Hey, it's Larry and Daryl and his other brother Daryl." It's like.
Also, if you guys have seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil, like all hillbillies are like evil things have been ruined for me forever because of that movie.
Anyway,
they got that off Deliverance anyway.
It's so funny and so ridiculous. I mean, the science is absurdly stupid, and but it starts off actually in Damnation Alley. I didn't mention that. It starts off pre-apocalypse, so you get to see these guys in the underground bunker, military folk, dealing with thing, and then the bombs happen, and at first you watch that and you kind of go, oh, okay, this isn't, you're like, okay, this might be something that's not as bad as Keith said it was. You're kind of, you're watching it and it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, the earth gets destroyed, and then of course fast forward and everything just falls to pot. I think that's about it. It's just
fabulous.
It's hard to get a good copy of it. Like the copy that I have is is like one of the cropped ones that's taken from a VHS. But I know that I think Shout Factory has come out with been able to do a widescreen, but even the widescreen that they do isn't a clean copy. Really, somebody like Kino needs to do a 2K remaster is what they need to do if they could get their hands on it. I don't know if they can, but that would be nice, because even with the bad special effects, they still deserve a nice clean copy.
Of course.
Doesn't have the pops and the scratches and all of that, that aren't part of the bad special effects. They're just the fact that nobody's ever thought to do a remaster. I mean, I can't imagine it'd be that bad. It was a short film. I think I just watched it Tuesday. Yeah, 91 minutes. It's a tight 90,
Wow.
Yeah.